If you look at the arc of the Biden presidency, he was in really good shape until August of 2021. When Afghanistan happened, he went under 40, she went under 40, and they really lived there until the end of the presidency. He's still there.
Why?
Look,
I'll tell you why.
Because he ran and told us that the adults were back in charge, and that was the opposite.
Yeah, they
of
were
that.
because Donald Trump was a child.
And you know what else?
Yeah.
And you know what else?
He's a
the fact that they wouldn't give these 13 service members' families the time of
bullshit,
day.
Dude.
Time of day.
I'm sorry, but Donald Trump hates veterans. He called them suckers and losers. He did. He absolutely, despite, he has his whole life. He has his entire life.
I know you're super emotional. I just.
Of course I am. I'm terrified.
I'm telling you, the political reality is that when they made that decision.
It doesn't matter. But you don't admit that Donald Trump hates veterans. You don't admit it. You deny a man, Chief John Kelly, a Marine. You deny. You say he lied.
You're still campaigning.
You say he lied.
Let me let
it's not over. It'll never be over.
I want to hear what Cole
It'll never be over. You wish.
The political reality is when they made that decision and everyone realized, oh my gosh, these aren't the competent adults that we were promised.
Donald Trump is.
And then when you pile on top of it the decisions that made inflation worse, it was a compounding interest of political crap over time that they could never get out of. And that's how she lost the race.
There was a bipartisan consensus to get out of Afghanistan. That wasn't the point. It was the way it was
Trump's
done.
decision to get out.
No, hold on. It was the implementation. It was the fact that they took out our soldiers first instead of last, which is, you would think would be common sense. And again, it's like you said, we thought the adults were in the room. That's why people voted for Biden. A return to normalcy, a return to competence. He's a lifelong public servant. We thought we're going to get normal, we're going to get competent. And that's what it's about.
We did. And if in the veterans community,
Afghanistan doesn't signal that. Afghanistan.
The wars in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, the Republican policies that led to those wars, the idea that Joe Biden made the final difficult decision, and his administration and his military leaders. I mean, you guys live on the tippy top of bullshit mountain. If you actually think that so many people think that the pullout of Afghanistan was the pivot point, are you kidding me?
I mean, I can read a chart and I can read a poll. I guess you can't. But the reality is when he made that decision.
Your petty insults are so weak, dude. You have no idea. Like, I don't even understand if you hear yourself talking. Look, you can laugh all you want, but like, I can't read a chart. Like, it's just so hacky. It's so uninteresting.
Look, the reason that we brought this up is because that was from a Democratic.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about more liberal meltdowns because liberals and Democrats do not like reality. This is why they're trying to blame everything else except themselves and Kamala Harris for why she lost to Trump. Okay, because they don't want to acknowledge the fact that, hey, the Democrat Party, what they're selling to the American people right now is something that the American people do not want. Okay, the American people have rejected the far left platform of the Democrat Party. The American people have rejected wokeness. They have rejected progressivism. And instead of just acknowledging the truth that their policies are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs insane, that they push hate and division in this country, instead of just acknowledging the truth, they would rather double and triple down on the nonsense. They rather double and triple down on the Trump derangement. Although the Trump derangement did not work. It didn't work. Trump won in a landslide despite 4 years of nonstop Trump derangement. I mean, 8 years to be quite honest with you. But clearly, they haven't learned their lesson as they're going to continue their Trump derangement, as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, okay? When Scott Jennings is giving a reality check, when he's telling the truth to Democrats about what happened and why they lost, they can't take it, right? They can't stand it. They lose their minds. They blow up, right? They start cursing on national television. And for whatever reason, Abby Phillip doesn't really have a problem with that, okay? But if you're a conservative and you tell a joke on national television, then you might get kicked off. You might get banned. So, I have another clip here that we have to react to of Scott Jennings pissing off the liberals on this panel as he gives them a reality check on why Trump won, right? The fact that he ran a campaign based off the issues, which is something that Democrats didn't do, and the liberals on this panel are not going to like that. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Just to go back to Susie for a second, the fact that he got to this first and the fact that she is going to have, influence over how the rest of this transition unfolds, whether it's picking attorney general or any of these other high-level positions. I think we ought to all look at this as a wise decision, a good decision, and for everybody out there wanting Trump to pivot or change or somehow whatever you want him to do, he just won a mandate from the American people to execute on the program that he laid out in this election. It wasn't particularly close. And I think he ought to put people in place who are going to do it. That's what the people are asking for.
Who will go after his enemies? I mean, that's
not what he ran on.
Yes, it did. It is explicitly what he ran on.
That's not what he ran on.
Look at what he said in the past week. He literally said that he was going to exact vengeance.
You still don't understand how you lost. He ran on immigration.
Don't say me. I'm not a Democrat.
He ran on immigration. He ran on inflation.
I'm not here paid to represent
one of the many things he ran on. In addition,
he ran on the issues that people care about. He ran on the economy. He ran
nobody's
on
saying that he didn't run on those things, but he also ran on vengeance.
Yes,
he did also run on going after the people who went after him.
And journalists.
It was a key feature of all of his speeches.
Yes,
Scott, he literally said, "I am your retribution." The Biden crime family, lock her up. Went after Sessions repeatedly for not doing what he wanted Sessions to do, which was to indict Hillary or whoever he wanted to indict.
You can want his campaign to have been about, tax reform and things like that. That is not what he said on the stump. Time after time after time.
Also,
he talked about going after his enemies.
I'm heartened by the fact that the left still cannot figure this out.
Even if you just take the January 6th.
Facts, Scott. I feel the same way. I love the facial expressions that Scott Jennings makes in these panel discussions, because the type of facial expressions that he's making is the same type of facial expressions that men make when their wives start nagging, right? Like, you can tell this guy is just like, they just don't get it. They just don't get it, right? I mean, like, that's the only thing that you can really do at this point, because these people clearly don't understand that this type of fear-mongering that's not based on any reality, this type of Trump derangement did not work, and it's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. I mean, the guy is not up for re-election, but they're going to spend the next 4 years doing exactly what they're doing now. Fear-mongering about a bunch of things that are not going to happen, okay? Ultimately, in the day, Trump won. This is what Scott Jennings is trying to say. This is the point that he's trying to make. Trump won because he won on the core issues. The economy, immigration, people trust Trump more when it comes to crime, right? The core issues is why Trump won. That's why he won. And that's the reality of the situation. You can say whatever you want about something that Trump said in some offhand comment, right? But that's not why people voted for him, okay? What people voted for was Trump to implement the same policies that he did in his first administration and to make this country great again. And they did so with a full mandate, with the White House, the Senate, and the House, right? That's what the American people did. It wasn't just Trump winning the White House. They gave him everything. The American people gave Trump everything that he needed to get things done, right? So, again, to sit here and try to say, well, all of this is about retribution and revenge and going after his political enemies is nonsense. It's nonsense. And the fact of the matter is, they don't want to acknowledge reality. They don't want to acknowledge reality that Trump won because of the core issues, because he talked about the core issues. That's what he really campaigned on. Had he not campaigned on the core issues, I don't think that he would have won a popular vote. I really don't. If what these people claim was true, he would not have won the popular vote. You know who didn't campaign on the core issues? Kamala Harris and Democrats. Kamala Harris and Democrats, they ran on identity politics. They ran on celebrities shaking ass at rallies. They ran on Trump derangement. They ran on everything except the core issues, and that's why they didn't win. That's why they lost the popular vote. That's why they lost the electoral college, right? Because they're the ones that didn't run on the core issues. And what Scott Jennings said about this being a good thing, he's 100% right. It's a good thing that these people refuse to acknowledge reality. They refuse to acknowledge where they went wrong, because that means they're going to continue to lose. If this is going to be the attitude of the media for the next 2 years, then, hey, we're going to gain even more seats in the House and the Senate in the midterms, and we're going to be able to do a lot more, right? So, again, keep it up, right? Keep it up. I'm loving this right now.
Sixth part of it, he made that a big part of his campaign, that he would, if he were in power, pardon those people. You can't say that that was not on the agenda. It absolutely was.
What was the campaign about? Why did tens of millions of people... Okay, but do you think that
he's going to do those other things when it comes to the Department of Justice?
I don't know what he's going to do. I'm not...
A big part of the campaign was being a victim. Like, that was a big part of it, was his victimhood. They're coming for you, but they're going to have to get through me. That was his whole line. That is all about the enemies list. That is all.
I totally disagree.
The deep state.
That's not.
This is the stuff that he talked about on the stump. Unless you just don't want to listen to him, those are his own words.
I listen plenty.
Scott, if you believe that people who violated the Capitol on January 6th committed a crime, which I would hope you would, because they weren't invited in the way they claimed they were, right? They were not there. They didn't go through security the way the rest of us have to go through to get into the Capitol. They were prosecuted. They were convicted. And now they're serving jail time. And he has said repeatedly that they're political prisoners and he is going to spring them, right? What does that tell you about how he's going to weaponize the Justice Department, and on whose behalf? On behalf of people who committed crimes for him, not for anybody else.
I mean,
Well, I mean, listen, here's the thing. I think that those J6ers, the ones who were nonviolent, I definitely think they are political prisoners. And I mean, if he pardons them, if he, helps them get off, so what? It's no different than what Democrats did with BLM and Antifa and Roe v. Wade and all the other individuals on their side of the aisle that they gave a slap on the wrist. So what? Who cares? Democrats opened up the door for this. There's a lot of people that should have been punished for what happened during the BLM riots, the Roe v. Wade riots, the Antifa riots, but they didn't get punished because Democrats said, hey, we're going to give people on our team a slap on the wrist. We're not going to have to actually go after them, right? And ain't it hilarious how when it comes to Trump supporters, these people believe in being tough on crime, right? But they don't believe in that when it comes to actual criminals, right? The ones in the streets in these liberal cities. Crazy how that works, right? They want to punish Trump supporters to the full extent of the law, even the ones that were nonviolent. But out in these liberal cities, these streets, they don't believe in any type of law and order. Amazing.
I admire your, I don't know if I want to call it naivete or optimism that Trump is going to run on the policies you care about deregulation and tax cuts and whatnot. That's just not what his campaign was about.
Wow.
That's not what he has indicated.
With all due respect, I've run more campaigns than you, and I know what campaigns are about, and I know why people walk into voting booths.
Why people walk into voting booths and what Trump plans to do when handed the presidency are two different things.
All right, guys.
This woman has no clue. I can't stand this woman. She thinks she's a know-it-all because she studied anthropology at, Princeton, right? And she thinks she knows everything now, okay? I'm a journalist. Yeah, you're a propagandist. Okay, you're a Democrat. Okay, we all know you voted for Kamala. Stop. I love when these people say, I'm a journalist, not a Democrat. You think I'm a paid operative? Yeah, you are a paid operative, right? I mean, like, if you were not a Democrat, you wouldn't be on CNN, right? CNN is paying you to come on their network, right? So, yeah, clearly, you're paid. You are clearly Team Democrat. You're anti-Trump. So, yes, you are a paid Democrat operative. There's no doubt in my mind this woman voted for Kamala, right? You voted for Kamala. So stop, right? Stop all this nonsense. Stop all this gaslighting. But as you can see here, right? Look at Scott Jennings' face. Look at his face. Again, this is a face of a man who knows he was right and that he's dealing with deranged liberals and that they just won't acknowledge reality, right? They just won't acknowledge reality. Again, this face is hilarious to me, right? Scott Jennings is the man. He really is. He's like my spirit animal. He says everything that I wish I could say on CNN. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.